Kind of mad at the moment. The birds are going everywhere. I don't really know where the fish are gone. Looks like they've just dropped down again, so we might have to wait a minute. But we're just going to go put a few casts in and see what they are. So we'll try to stay dry. Fishing for me started pretty much from birth, I suppose. Being born into a family that's super ocean orientated. Family all surf and enjoy fishing and just being outside at the beach in the bush. So yeah, my dad was a fisherman and sort of got me into it from a really young age, my brother and I. And then it's just evolved from there, constantly changing. Yeah, sort of clicked probably my late teens, I suppose, and definitely coming into my early 20s is when I started like really targeting specific fish, and it's where I fell in love with Jew fishing. And I suppose at that age you got more freedom to do what you want to do and travel around and, you know, stay up all night, and you got your license and everything like that, so it makes it a lot easier to go and explore different places to fish and different styles to do it. So yeah, I'd probably say in the last, what's that, 15 years probably, is when it all started coming together for me. Today we're at Stockton Beach and we're going to try to catch some fish over the next 2 days. Target species definitely being jewfish. We'll see how we go. Conditions look pretty good. The only thing I'm not stoked about is the full moon, but we'll have a go. First thing when driving on the beach, obviously 4-wheel drive, and we're just going to let our tyres down. Sand here is very soft, so we're going to go ahead, let the tyres down, and we're going to get on the beach and have a look for some gutters. So I've got the Boss Air Storms here, little device which is set your pressure. So I'm going to run 20, see how soft the sand is, and if it is really soft we'll have to go down maybe to about 15, maybe even 12 if we get bogged. We've got max tracks on board as well, shovel if we do get bogged, and we've got 2 vehicles, so we should be able to recover ourselves out if we do get stuck. So with these, take off your cap, screw these on, air starts coming out, and then that's it. Let that go until it hits 20 and it'll stop. So we'll go around now and do all 4. Gonna let Rich's tyres down so they're flat and they come off the rim. All right, tyres let down and time to get on the beach. So let's go. So we're on the beach now. Awesome day, and we've just stopped. There's some pretty fun looking waves, which is going to make it hard to find a good gutter because we'll be looking at the waves instead. But yeah, conditions today, got a nice sort of small swell. Obviously really light winds at the moment. It's west right now, that's why it's so clean out there. So what we're going to do is focus on finding a gutter. So this is a huge beach, like it goes as far as you can see that way and nearly as far as you can see that way. So we're just going to go along, find the structure on the beach, which is always the most challenging part. The beach is very barren, it's like a desert, so any structure is what the fish will hold on. So the structure in this case is a gutter. So steep drop off on the sand, lots of white water, some shallow water leading into deep water. That's what we're after. If we can spot some bait, even better. So we'll see how we go. Go for a drive and have a look. These little inside wedges look super fun. Look at that one. 2 things I love is fishing and surfing. And it's super early in the day, we've got heaps of time. So there's no one around. It's a little bit sketchy, but there's a really fun looking little wave on the inside here. So I'm gonna go for a quick paddle, maybe 20 minutes, see how we go, not get eaten by a shark, and yeah, give that a go, then we'll find a gutter. quick little rinse off. It's pretty hot today, so it's nice to get in the water. A couple little inside waves, which were fun. Water temp's real good at the moment, so hopefully that's a good thing for us tonight. Fishing for dew. So what we're going to do now is, like, it's pretty easy to see the gutters and the sandbanks and whatnot now because the water's so clean with this westerly wind. So what we're going to do now, oh wow, is drive down the beach, look for a spot to set up and get the gear ready for fishing tonight. So we'll go do that now. Take a bit of time. It's probably the most important thing tonight and today is finding a good spot. So we'll take the time doing that and have a look at all our options and choose one, and we'll go from there. Let's go. Been driving down the beach, excuse me, and seeing a massive bust up of unidentified fish. Don't know what they are yet, but there's a lot of birds there if you have a look at that. So we're literally just racing now to put a cast in while they're still here. Looks like they've just dropped down again, so we might have to wait a minute. But we're just going to go put a few casts in and see what they are, so try to stay dry. Could be Taylor, could be Benito. Don't know what they are. I might have foul hooked it. Oh! Bit me off. Gone. Just got bitten off, so there's something with teeth. More than likely Taylor. That one felt quite solid. So this is the fun thing with beach fishing. Like, just went for a surf, cruising down the beach looking for a gutter to set up to go dew fishing tonight. And there's absolute chaos out there at the moment with bait schools and just hundreds of birds. So it's good fun. Like, middle of the day, literally, what is it? 12:30. So fishing's on already. Just cast it out into the birds, just letting it sink down and then just crank it. Yep, and there we go, on. Look at the bend in that rod. So I think this is the MLC jigger, the medium light. Super tippy, awesome for throwing metals. And there we go, here he comes. What do we got? There you go. Dirty big Taylor. That is quite a lump of a Taylor. Just nailed that jig. Now I'm gonna have to go get some pliers out of the car because I'm not putting my fingers anywhere near that. But there you go. Perfect little bait fish profile. Absolute donkey of a Taylor. Right in the wash. So we'll go get this jig out of its mouth and another one. That school of fish seems to have moved on now. All the birds are gone, so we might jump back in the car and continue down the beach. We've got a rod rigged up now, so at least we can jump out and have a cast next time we see a work up like that. So let's go do that. Did see a good little zone just back a couple of 100 metres, so just going to go pull up there and have a look. We'll watch it on the tide. As the tide goes down, I think low's about 2 o'clock today, so, or maybe 3 or 4, I don't know, I'll have to check again. And we'll just watch it through that tide so we can see what it's going to be like and where the deep water is. So yeah, just shoot back up there, pull up and watch it for a bit. I suppose what drives me to fish is the love of being outside. I hate being cooped up. I can't stay inside for too long. I can't sit still for very long either. I love sleep, but it's, you know, you can sleep when you're old or when you're dead. So I would rather spend my time, doing something I'm super passionate about. And I suppose the driving force behind that is just being outside and having something to chase. It is a game. It's literally a game. You're trying to, you know, outsmart, outwit, outplay the opponent, which this time it's a fish. But yeah, it's really, what's the word I'm searching for? Like, it is super addictive. And yeah, I suppose that's a driving force. Like the failures you get, which are quite often if you're trying to do this sort of fishing, like you fail, and a lot of people can just give up. But I suppose that's the driving force. It's just like, for me, it's like, no, I'm gonna keep persisting. I'm gonna keep persisting. I'm gonna keep persisting. I've got an idea in my head, or I've got some little nuances that I thought, oh, this is going to work or that's going to work, and you know, I'll just keep trying and trying and trying and trying until I can either rule it out and it doesn't work, or it does work, and it's super rewarding when that happens. The Mulloway is my definite favourite target species. There's something about them. They're elusive. They're nicknamed the Ghost. The Aboriginal named the greatest one. You know, they're so kind of infamous in, or you even say they're famous in the fishing community. People fish their whole lives trying to get that, you know, that magic meat is the first one. Then once you got that, it's the 20 kilo and the 30 kilo and the 40 kilo. And, you know, there's so many different stages of chasing them. And then there's how you target them. You target them on bait, live bait, lures, fly, hard body, soft plastics. Like, there's like no end to the ways you can target them. And again, you got the beach, you got the estuaries, you got this bridges at night time, light lines. Like, there's always something you can do, and it's a fish kind of regardless of the weather. You can always fish for them. So I think that's one big draw card is, you know, if it's raining and howling southerly and, you know, you don't want to be outside, you can go fishing for jewfish, because it's a great that's probably one of the best times to fish for them. So yeah, they're definitely my preferred target species, and yeah, I don't think I'll ever get sick of chasing them. All right, so we found where we're going to try, at least the next couple of hours, and just watch it. So come to a bit of a point on the sand. Got deep water that side, deep water that side. Straight out the front we got a nice sandbank, which is coming all the way into the beach. Tide's going down quite quickly now, so we want to find those shallow sandbanks, because we know if we can see them at low tide, they're going to be there at high tide still. So we just want some waves for tonight. Being full moon, we want the cover that the waves give with the whitewash for the fish to hunt in. It's going to be pretty bright tonight. There's like no clouds, unfortunately. So yeah, we picked this spot. We're just going to set up, get all our gear set up. We'll run you through what we're going to be using tonight. The gear, the tackle, the rigs and the bait. And then also probably run through some plastics, because a bit later this afternoon, probably on the bottom of the tide, we'll go for a spin up and down the beach, trying to get a dew that way. Good way to explore as well, spinning with soft plastics, and we're using a 6.2 inch bait junkie minnow and like a 1 or 1.5 ounce jig head. So it allows that good cast, drop slow enough to look natural still, and yeah, can fight through the water, because at times it's quite turbulent. So again, this is our spot. Got continual waves breaking, that's kind of what we want. Continual wave breaking, shallow sandbank, deeper water either side. So yeah, we'll start setting up. So tonight, SALTIST MQs. So this one's the 8000. It's got 30-pound braid on it. Perfect size, matched with that 13-foot rod. Plenty of drag, plenty of stopping power. And this one is the 10,000. So I'll put this on the bigger 15-foot rod. So we'll sit down, put these on, spool this one up, and then we're going to make some rigs, and we'll show you what we're going to use tonight. 400 metres to go. A little less. I need one of. All right, so just got the rods out, unpacked those. Still got heaps of time, so we're just basically watching the water. And while we're doing that, one of the other most important things is making a rig. So the rig that I'm going to be doing today, I'm sure lots of people already know it, but it's probably my go-to rig and what I use, I reckon, 90% of the time for this style of fishing. So what we've got, two types of leader. This is just Daiwa J-thread fluorocarbon. So I've got a 30 and a 60 sinker This one's a 140 gram star. Got some other weight sinkers in there for if the current is stronger or not as much. Sinker slide. So this is what your sinker clips onto and just slides up and down your line. 2 hooks for a snell rig that we're going to do. Good quality hooks. Definitely spend the money and get good quality hooks because they're what's connecting you to the fish. And then some swivels. So 2 swivels here. Righto, we'll get started. And a glow stick. So at night time, this clips on top of your rod, snap it like party glow sticks when you're a kid. Goes on top of your rod and just allows you to watch the bites in the dark. So first bit of this, tying this rig, grab some 60 pound. So the reason I use 60 pound on this section of the leader and of the rig is it's just a bit thicker, so it's a bit stiffer and doesn't tangle. So I want about, what, 600 or 700 mil of that. Cut it off. Can go away. Then with one of your swivels, tie it to one end and put it through, and then I just do a uni knot. 1, 2, 3. Cinch that down nice and tight. So 1 swivel, we'll trim the tag ends off soon. Next step, so swivel at the bottom, get your sinker slide, thread that through, let that stop on your swivel. So that's the whole idea of a sinker slide, just allows your rig a lot of freedom to move. So when a fish picks it up, it can take off without feeling the sinker straight away, which can sometimes really turn them off. So then we grab the other swivel, same thing, uni knot. So I like to have about, let's call it 450, 500 mil between. Another uni knot. Pull that down. So that's it. Got 2 swivels and a sinker slide. That's part 1 of the rig. So I'll just trim the tag ends off, pull them tight, trim it. Both ends. Alright, so we can now put that aside in stage 1 of our rig. Stage 2, I like using 30 pound. Fish like to get the bite. So for this, about 6 foot, about my arm span. Trim that off. And again, you can fish heavier, but I find you get a lot more bites fishing lighter. Just allows that bait to swim in the current a lot more free. So first hook is the bottom hook of the snell rig. So again, this one I'm just going to tie with a uni knot on the bottom. So again, that's just threading it through the eye, doubling it over, making a loop, and then wrapping through both lines. You can trim that tag end off straight away. Importantly, throw your rubbish in the bin, don't leave it on the beach. So that's just the hook hanging there. Got our second hook now. I'm using 7/0s tonight. I think it's just a good size. So with the end of your leader, thread it up through the hook eye. So you can see this one's an offset eye, it goes backwards. Pull it all the way through. So you've got 2 hooks sitting on your line like this. So we're using squid strips tonight. So I'm going to go about 100 mil from eye to eye spacing. So it leaves a little bit of movement to be able to move your bait depending on the size. So at the moment that's just gone through the eye of the hook. This is the tag end in my right hand. And now what we're doing is pinching the line onto the shaft shank of the hook, grabbing the tag end leader and winding it back down the eye. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 times, you can see there. Use your finger to pinch it. at the tag end of your line, the very end, and then thread it back up through the eye of the hook. Pull that through and pull it tight. So that is our rig, the hook part of our rig. So now, get the other part of your rig, 60-pound segment, swivel, and the tag end of the hook line you just tied, thread that through, and again, just uni knot. Four times, pull that through, cut that tag off, and that's it. So you got in between two swivels, you've got your sinker slide, which your sinker then clips onto. Clip it in, fixed. So your sinker will bury in the sand and hold, but still allow movement when the fish picks up the bait. And that's it. That's my go-to Jew fishing rig off the beach. But this works just in different scales, obviously smaller hooks, lighter leader, smaller portions for any species of fish on the beach. Yeah, it's proven itself to me time and time again. So that's what I use, and that's one done. Got another one to tie, and soon it will be dark. Just gonna go put one out now. Just not out, but position it. Just because seriously, it would not surprise me if someone comes here and fishes right there. It happens. One there. There's been lots that have gotten away. Can remember a very good portion of them, if not all of them. It's definitely been some absolute trophies in there that I would have loved to see. I've seen a couple and have had, you know, things fail at the last minute or last second, and that's just devastating, and that keeps me awake for a substantial amount of time sometimes. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll ever get the one I'm chasing. Not sure if they exist anymore. But one day, I'll just keep trying until I do. But along the way, there's been some awesome catches, and I'm super happy with where my Mulloway fishing journey has come to so far. And yeah, I think there's only more to catch.
Biggest one today?
32 kilos is my biggest one, and that was not far from here where we are now. Biggest one on lure, I think it was 28 kilos in like the middle of the day, which is awesome. And yeah, there's been lots and lots and lots up into that class as well that also stay with you, but each one's so different. They're usually all in a different location or a different technique, or a different style of night. Every time we go fishing, the conditions are different to some degree, so each fish caught it's a win. So yeah, the conditions if we just talk about like the beach fishing, which is what I do a lot of, finding the right spot is probably the biggest thing. If they're going to be anywhere along a beach, you got to find where they're going to be, and if they're not there, you're not going to catch them. But you got to give yourself the best shot. So spending the time learning the water conditions, and it helps being a surfer and growing up in and around the water, like identifying what's what. Because sometimes a beach can look like it's the big desert, and then finding the structure, like we talked a bit about yesterday, finding that part that's going to hold the bait and the part of the beach that the fish are going to come through and hunt. And yeah, so it's all about finding where they're going to be, and it's never a guarantee. They're fish and they move around, but giving yourself the best shot is definitely what you got to aim for. Connection point we're going to do to tie our braid onto our rig that we made before. This one works for me. I've been using it for years and it hasn't let me down. Everybody has their own knots. So we grab the tag end of the line. Grab your end swivel. Put the braid through the eye. And basically now it's a uni knot, but I go 9 times. That's just what works for me. So again, make the loop through your braid. So doubled over, loop, and then wrap it through 9 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Pull that down. So that makes a really tight little knot. Boom. Cut that tag off, and that's it. I'll show you quickly what this rig does. So if I let the bail open and let that sinker cast it out, so it holds your bait. And what this swivel and this swivel does is allow your bait, which is attached to these 2 hooks, float naturally in the current. So it floats up and down and gets washed around and around and around. And when a fish picks it up, so the swivel, when you've got tension on your rod, the swivel will come into the stopper here. And if a fish comes along and picks your bait up, jewfish are notoriously picky at times and finicky. So if they feel any weight when they're pulling that bait, they will tend to drop it. So what this does is allows them to take off with the bait and get a fair bit of time to swallow it before they feel the hooks. And then that just pops out of the sand and you can fight the fish. So yeah, that's how that works. Really good system, and you can see today that there is a bit of sweep. There's a bit of swell, not too much, but there's a bit of sweep today, so we'll be relying on that sinker to hold our bait where we want to put it. So we're just going to go down now. We've picked our gutter, we've marked our spots. I've got one rod up there set where that one's going to start. Just going to go put this one down, so at least when it comes time, tide starts to come up and it starts to get dark, we can start fishing. In the meantime, I'm going to have a spin. So we'll go get these set up, then they're ready to go. All we're going to do is bait them up, and then we'll go for a spin. Like there could be a Jew like just in there. Like right there, you wouldn't see it. Look how deep that is. Good thing about fishing with a light outfit, it's not tiring. So if you do this for 2 hours walking up and down the beach, your arms are stuffed by the end of it, but having a nice light setup like this just helps a lot. Cast like a rocket, and like this is a pretty light setup for beach spinning Jew, but if I hook one, I'll be confident in this rod, even though it's a medium light, wouldn't have any troubles landing it. Obviously the SALTIST, more than capable. Proven that time and time again. In these conditions, these things, it is that tough, and they're just built for the harsh environments that we use them in, like bit of sand, bit of salt, good rinse in the fresh water, and this thing will last you for years. Like, I've had some of mine for years now and they just can't fold them. So we're about 5 minutes off low tide. So we're just gonna have a cast. We're not doing much else, so just hanging around. The water looks good now, and you know, we do get them in the daytime from time to time, so why not? So I went out yesterday afternoon and caught some squid. So for today and tonight, I caught about, I know there's a few in there. I might go through a few tonight. So I'm just going to show you what I do to cut them up and how I rig them up on the rod. The knife, this one's not very sharp, should be sharper. A sharp knife really helps. Keep your squid, these ones I've got on ice. They're super fresh, like only yesterday afternoon caught. Really still changing colour. So I'll take what I need off this and then I'll get it straight back on the ice. These Ziploc bags are handy. Handy to have a bucket so you can cut on top of it. Also fill it up later, wash hands with it. So we'll get to it. There you go, green eye calamari or squid that I caught last night, yesterday afternoon. Still like changing colour, so super fresh. So what we want to do now, a little bit messy, but get in there, run your finger up the feather inside the squid or the quill and pull all its head and guts out like that. We pretty much straight away, I'll cut that off just above the eyes and that'll be used as burley. Throw that in and that's one bait right there. So super inky, super fresh. And then what I do is I get rid of the wings, strip them off. Good bait too, so we use them later or chuck them in for burley. And I try to skin the squid as I'm going as well. This makes a nice light white bait. So like that. There's the wings, so just chuck them down there. And pull the feather out, get him in here. Just like that. That's the quill. Stick that there. And then you can see where I pulled that line, that quill out, there's like a line, so you can split your squid just down that. See how sharp this knife is. Put it in, cut it like that. And then tonight and today we'll be using strip baits. So open the squid right up, just like that. So you've got the whole hood of the squid. And then what I do is I'll cut this, I'll probably get 4 baits out of this one, so cut it straight in half. And there is a bit of current, so I just like to have my bait a little bit thinner and finer, so it's not picking up too much of the current. So again, cut that in half, just like that. So that would be my bait strip. And then what I do is probably the last third of the squid, I'll just split that in half just to give it a bit of motion when it's sitting in the water. So like that, split that in half, and this just waves in the water. And then what I like to do is just give it a bit of a bash. I do usually normally have a little meat hammer or something like that, but I didn't bring it. So you can use anything, you can even use, if you're careful, use the butt of your knife. Just like that. Just helps it to soften up a little bit. It's not too hard at the moment because this is so fresh. So that's my bait. So now we'll head down to the rod and I'll show you how I put it on. Bit of a tip for young players, don't leave your bait on the ground while you wash your hands, the birds get it. So got my piece of squid, second one because the birds stole the first one, and I'll show you how I rig it. So with the bottom hook first, that's this one, I'll go in halfway through the squid. So push it through all the way and pull it through. Then I go back in again, sorry, it's a bit hard to see. Go in again there, and where I bring the point out is just where I've split the squid. Push that through, and the top hook, literally just pin it through once, like that. So that's how I rig my squid. Pretty simple. The split where I split it just flaps around in the current. Nice bit of waft. Also a rag, wipe your hands. So I'll wash them then wipe them, stops it getting all over your reel and your rod. Stinks. Tip for any type of ocean activities, never turn your back on it like I am now. I've got someone watching behind me so they can tell me if a big wave's coming, but you just never know. So always play it safe. So what we're going to do now is set the drag. So because we're casting a big weight, the 140 gram sinker, I don't want to rip my finger off while I'm casting it. So that drag's pretty tight. I'm going to go even tighter. So that's pretty damn tight. This rod holder's in nice and deep, so when a fish hits that, it's going to bend the rod and not take the holder out. Once I've cast it, I will back that drag off just a tiny bit. allow the fish to run if it does eat it. So first bait in the water, let's do it. So I've still got my bail arm open while I'm walking back to the rod holder. Flick it over now. Got a bit of wind, bit of swell, so this sinker's going to settle. So what I like to do, this is probably my favourite piece of beach fishing equipment. I normally hold my rod, I don't really set it in the rod holder, but we're going to be fishing 2 rods tonight, so kind of have to. But these things, they're a popping belt, so they're made for popping and whatnot. But seriously, this is so comfortable now. If you don't have this on, you're always trying to put it somewhere, hold it somewhere. They're a long rod. They're not heavy, but after a few hours, they're pretty heavy. So this just sits in there, and now I can just hold my rod, watch my rod tip, feel my line, and you're set. Super comfortable, super relaxing. And we're fishing now, so fingers crossed the fish cooperate and we get one. One thing with beach fishing, you're constantly fighting against the elements, the wind, the swell, the tide. So like keeping in contact with your line is going to be the difference of it tangling and messing your rig up. A fish won't touch a rig that's tangled. If your rig's out there and it's all tangled up, fish are not going to come and touch it. So it's important to stay in contact with your line the whole time. My line's nice and tight. That's why I like to use like 30 or 40 pound braid, because it cuts through the wind, cuts through the swell, doesn't get moved around like thicker lines. I'm keeping in contact with it all the time. If it's in the rod holder, you always want your line to be tight, because you see people and they put it in, go sit back, have a beer or whatever, and their rig's just getting washed around, tangling up, and they're not going to catch anything. So super important to stay in contact with your line, like any type of fishing. It's just been a little bit, so we're just rebaiting, chucked a little bit of burley and some scraps of the squid, and pretty much from now we're just going to keep rotating through the baits every 15 or 20 minutes, so see what we can pull out, hopefully something. Another bit of bait ready. Probably a stingray or something. Yes. That's all we came for. So that is a super common bycatch whilst bait fishing on the beach. There we go, so that's out. An absolute pest. Yeah. Shovel nose or a banjo. Banjo ray. Let him go. Super like ancient looking thing, got spikes on their back. Sniff around to eat bait. Oh, something. So light is fading, it's pretty much last light now. We've got 10 minutes or so till it's dark. So it's an awesome sunset. And as you can see right there, the big bad moon is up. So we're here for tonight anyway. We're gonna fish for a few more hours at least before we head up, pack up and head back to camp. So we'll just keep persisting, keep throwing baits out. So yeah, let's keep at it into the dark. Yeah, fishing can be like surfing, a super selfish sport, but there's nothing better than having a good mate next to you who's equally as mad or as addicted as you are to the same thing. When you do hook that fish, it's so good to share it with like a good mate, and same with all the the nights we go home catching absolutely nothing, it makes the burden of, you know, the 2 hours sleep you're going to get that night a little bit easier, knowing your good mates going through the same thing. Yeah, it's great having people to bounce off, and also our minds are constantly racing about new ways to catch these fish. Or, you know, when I call up a mate at midnight and go, oh, Southley's coming, you keen to put the wetsuit on and we'll swim out to the rock and we'll spin for jewfish, and they go, you know what, that's a great idea. So yeah, it's great being surrounded by people with the same mentality. I'm sure most of you would know that jewfish stocks are in, like, for the last, I don't know, 20 years have been in like serious decline. It's hard to get a baseline figure, but a few years back they were calling them at about 3% of their original stock. I think that is a big reason why they're so elusive. I just don't think there's enough of them. So with every fish that we catch, we really try our best to look after it. I've been doing tagging program with the DPI for probably close to 10 years now. So getting the data back on those fish when they're recaptured is awesome to find out, you know, their habits and how they've been traveling. There's still a long way to go with improving the stock levels. The commercial sector, I think, has a lot to do with the stock levels as well, especially the beach netting and the beach hauling. I think the government is trying to stop that, and I hope it does get stopped, because I think that plays a huge role in the preservation of these fish. I find the recreational sector, like myself, is at the moment quite good with catch and release. I think more and more people are really trying to look after the fish and preserve them for, you know, to catch again and for the next generation. There's such a special fish, and I think everyone really needs to just, take the time. Everyone wants to get a great photo, and we all do, but taking care of the fish and really spending the time and making sure it releases is a huge bonus, because they're too good to catch once, I think. Handy red light. I think it's the wrong size. Oh no, we all good. No tape required. Look at that beautiful, fresh, still green. Righto. Here we go again. Not very big, probably a tailor. Or maybe another shovel nose. Target species acquired. It's alright, there should be more of these now then. So there we go. That is what we've come here for. It's an absolute baby. The bait's nearly as big as the fish is. So he's pinned himself through there, through the bottom jaw with that hook, which will just come straight out, I think. But it doesn't matter what size they are, they're the coolest fish. Like, definitely my favourite fish to chase around this area where I live. He's prime. Great little fish, and yeah, shows that this stocks are healthy and everything that the people are doing to take care of these fish and release them. It's definitely showing. Like, more and more of these smaller fish coming, and in the future they obviously grow into the big ones that we all chase. So there we go. There's the first one. Now time to upgrade it, I think. So I'm going to let him go now, and see where we film with a light, just so we can show you what we're doing, but we're not going to shine it on the water. It's like one of my biggest no-nos. Can spook the fish. They're already very touchy tonight, obviously, so we'll let him go in the dark and we'll get another bait out there. Hey?
Playing with it.
Yeah, it's probably been... not real big. Well, there's another one. Again, pretty much the same size, hooked in the same place. On a strip bait this time, but so because there was a smaller fish we caught last time, I thought let's change down bait size. The last one took a whole squid head. But yeah, that's 2. Now we just need an upgrade though. Super healthy little fish. The lateral line, or the portals they call them. And that's what these fish use to hunt, pick up all the vibration of the bait fish or anything they're chasing down with these lateral line. It's a cool little fish. There we go, something small. He was super finicky, that one. I actually hooked him when I struck at it. It's just playing with the bait and mouthing it. Yeah, we'll call it a centimetre upgrade. Smell out. So there's another Jew bycatch right there. Dirty old Taylor. Super aggressive. So if we were struggling for bait tonight, these are epic bait. Because they're quite a bloody bait and real stinky, and I don't want to draw the sharks in here because of the moon, I won't be using this for bait. I'll just let him go, but that's like a pretty good sized Taylor. Good fun, fight hard. So I'll let him go and get that bait back out there and try again. So we've persisted through the night, put a couple hours in after dark, and we got Taylor, shovel nose, and we got 3 little Jew, which was good. So that's the target species. So we're going to pack up now, a little bit to pack up, and then going to head back to camp, and then probably come back down the beach in the morning. We might actually head out to the wall and catch some live bait, because we're going to try again tomorrow night. Find a different bit of water, hopefully, something a bit less current, and yeah, so we'll pack up, head back to camp, get some sleep, and we'll see you in the morning. So we've checked the spot that we had in mind, because it's a south swell, a lot of it's missing here, but it's a little bit too flat. So like with Jew fishing, we always want some form of whitewash. There's little waves breaking, but you can also see there's a lot of weed in the water. So it's just a nightmare when fishing, obviously. So gonna look probably back north a little bit, and just try to get to a spot where there's just enough swell coming in, like the beach bends around. So find a spot with just enough swell coming in, hopefully some little gutters, and yeah, this is what it's about, just finding the gutter. Last night being so hard, we did spend a lot of time looking for a gutter, and it did pay off with those small fish, but tried to do the same again today and hopefully convert it into a bigger one. So probably go for a drive, try to find another exit onto this beach. We may have to drive back on the beach, so see how we go. I could go north, but so we've changed spots and we've decided that we're going to try to fish the wall this evening. The beach just was no good. So we're going to go out here, got this whole set up, try to catch some live bait. Here we go, he's coming in. Ready? Whoa. That's pretty sweet. That's about 20. Some water. Now let's catch some bait. So I got the aerator here, so I'll switch that on when the bait goes in. Just keeps the water obviously aerated and keeps your live bait healthy, and throughout the session we'll just keep changing the water out as well, adding fresh water in. Set up now to catch a live bait. This is a sabiki jig, heaps of different types of them. Tie it straight onto the swivel that comes with it. Essentially, the bait fish, yuccas in this case is what we're after. See those little lumoed up hooks, and they eat them. A big cast out, hit the bottom. So that's what we want. We just want more of them. Perfect Jew bait size, little lollipop. Just stick him in there, and he's happy. So see if we can get some more. It's got to keep constant pressure on when you're winding them in. Super soft mouth. So if you just grab the hook, not the fish so much. Sometimes just flick them off like that. Makes them stay alive longer. So there's another yucca. Really good Jew size bait, that one. Righto, so we got some baits. It was very hard. Too much going on. Bonito smashing the bait, dolphins coming through. Like right now there's just bonito busting up. But we got some baits. We're going to go back to the spot down towards the middle of the wall, rig some rods up and get some baits in the water. So fingers crossed we can convert that to a Jew tonight. It is finding some suitable places. These are the ones we had on the beach, but they work fine. Finding some good places to sit the rods for tonight. So nice easy access, and then somewhere that the rod holder is going to sit in nice and firmly. You can just bolster them up with a few rocks as well. It feels just like being at work. But there we go. Outside of fishing, I work. I've got a marine construction business, so we work in and around the water, building seawalls, boat ramps, jetties, some diving stuff, and then also super passionate about stonemason. So I have another side of the business that does stonemason, and that is probably my favourite thing to do because it's such an art. So we do like bespoke stonework on like high-end houses, and yeah, that's a huge passion of mine. Apart from that, my other huge passion is surfing. I spend every spare minute I can, if I'm not fishing, at surfing, and have been since I was a very small child. It's a huge part of my life and a huge part of being outside. Other than that, spending time with my two little boys and my partner, yeah, and getting them involved in the things I love as well. Like all three of them love surfing, all three of them love fishing, love being at the beach, love being outside. So yeah, that'd be my passions for sure. Oh, didn't you read my contract? Everything that comes on a filming mission goes to my house. So this rig will be for the live baits, and what it is a, sorry, let's trim that off. This connects to the braid, so it's a 3-way crane swivel. On the dropper of that, we've got the lead, using like a snapper lead here, with another swivel and a clip just to stop any tangling. So that can spin freely on that swivel without tangling. Then the leader part I've got here, we're using 60 pound. Got a length. 2-hook Snell style rig again. I'm going to be bridling the live bait. So if you can see there, I've attached a braid loop with tight ends so it can't come off. And then I thread a cable tie like this, just in front of the fish's eyes. Doesn't really feel it. It's the same as bridling any fish with game fishing. Just tends to stay alive longer and swim better. So I'll show you that in a bit. But that's one rig done. So I'll tie that one on, and I'm just got to shoot back and get some squid for the other rig, and then we'll send them out. First live bait, I'm going to put him in the water. I'm going to show you how we rig it up. This part right in front of the fish's eyes is just like a hollow cavity. So push the cable tie through there, like that. So he's through. And then my hook with the little loop through it. Put that through the cable tie. Make sure it's the right way. Like so. Then cable tie it shut. Pull that down tight. So that's hanging like that. Trim the cable tie off. Second hook, just lightly pin it through the fish's back. So that's him. It's our live bait. I'm going to get him in the water quick, plonk him out. Doesn't need to go too far. Probably far enough. Sinker's on the bottom now. And the livey will just be swimming. Set the drag on a fair bit of drag, because when the fish hit live bait, they tend to smash it. Triangle. So, again, same way. Hook through, pull it all the way through. This is the bottom hook. Then through and back through, just above that split. And then the top hook is going to pin once through the top, like so. So that's it. We'll tie that on, cast it out. Righto, now we'll just sit and wait. Fold. Sun's going down now. It's coming into that peak flight period, so it's changing the bait over. Another yakka on. Put a fresh squid bait out there a minute ago. One rigged up there. Bloody brim. Something. Not what we wanted, but it's just the time of year, unfortunately. There's millions of these around. Really shredded my leader. That's why I use 60 pound in the rivers sometimes. Still got both my hooks. Absolute terror. That ate a live yakka, so the live yakka was probably half the size of that. Here's what it is, just send him back. Put another bait on. To anyone that's mad enough, I suppose, it's in a good way, mad enough to want to chase jewfish and, you know, tick them off the list and keep upgrading the sizes. I think just persistence is the key. Persistence and learning from your failures, learning from those nights you're not catching anything. You will start to catch them if you keep persisting, like it will happen. And then it's just making mental notes of those things. Like guys used to back in the day keep calendars and write down and everything, and it does work too, but like I think once you start to catch a few, things start working out and start making sense a bit more. But just persistence, like just keep casting. The fish of 1,000 casts is what they're called and referred to often, and it's definitely true at some times. So I think just keep at it. It's tiring and it's draining, but it's so rewarding, and you forget about all the fishless nights you've had when you stand there holding that, you know, that trophy. So keep casting.
Thanks, man. I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Awesome. Thank you.